America has finally launched an all-out assault on China. Sanctions, chip blockades, economic isolation through NATO and G7. But what has left everyone stunned is that China appears completely unrattled. And if you knew that every American attack has actually, without Washington realizing it, been accelerating China's technological independence from just 33% chip self-sufficiency in 2024 to already reaching 50% in 2025, because China had long prepared 5 traps that turn every American pressure into something that strengthens their position in the eyes of the world. And what's even more surprising, Southeast Asian nations are now caught between these two giants and forced to choose loyalty to America or investment from China. So who is actually winning the greatest economic war in modern history? Everything will be covered in this video, so stay with us until the end. America is panicking, and it shows. Not because they're weak, but precisely because they have thrown everything at China. Sanctions, tariffs, technology blockades, diplomatic isolation, and China is still standing, looking more confident than ever. I'll admit, when I first started following this escalation, I assumed America must have a trump card they hadn't yet played. But the deeper I went into the data, the clearer it became. America has already played almost every card they have, and the results haven't matched expectations. Let's look at what America has done. Since 2022, America has imposed layer upon layer of restrictions blocking China's access to advanced semiconductor technology. NVIDIA, which once controlled 95% of China's AI chip market, now holds zero market share, 0%. Export control policies tightened in 2022, 2023, 2024, and again in 2026, all designed for one objective: freeze China's technological capabilities. On the diplomatic front, America built coalitions. AUKUS, a military technology alliance between America, the UK, and Australia. Quad, a strategic partnership with India, Japan, and Australia. New military bases reinforced across the Indo-Pacific. G7 nations rallied together to enforce technology restrictions on China. And SWIFT has been wielded as the most lethal weapon, as demonstrated against Russia in 2022, freezing $300 billion of assets within days. But something is very strange about all of this. China doesn't look panicked. No emergency policies issued in panic. No Chinese leaders stepping forward speaking in a defensive tone. Xi Jinping is actually appearing more frequently on the international stage, calm, confident, and looking like someone waiting for something he planned long ago. Why does a country being attacked from every direction look like it's half smiling? And this, I believe, is the most fascinating thing to break down, because the answer isn't about China being lucky, it's about China having prepared something far in advance that America didn't even realize was being prepared. A trap that the harder America pushes, the deeper they fall into it. Before we get into the traps China has laid, we first need to understand, how serious is America's assault actually? Because this is no ordinary bluff. This is one of the largest economic and technological pressure campaigns in modern history. The first and most strategic, the chip war. America has blocked China's access to advanced chips in successive waves since October 2022, tightened again October 2023, tightened again December 2024, and tightened yet again January 2026 with Section 232 tariffs of 25% on advanced semiconductor imports. ASML, the sole producer of EUV machines needed to manufacture the world's most advanced chips, has been banned from selling to China. Applied Materials lost $600 to $710 million in China revenue in 2026. Lam Research, which once derived 43% of its revenue from China, is also beginning to shrink. The objective is clear. If China cannot access advanced chips, they cannot develop AI, cannot modernize their military, cannot compete in the industries of the future. The second, SWIFT as a pressure weapon. Russia's 2022 experience became the template America wants to apply more broadly, freezing a nation's access to the global financial system as punishment for their policies. This is one of the most lethal pressure tools ever created, capable of crippling a nation's economy within days. The third, diplomatic and military isolation. America has strengthened AUKUS, Quad, and its military base network across the Indo-Pacific. It has rallied G7 allies to enforce technology restrictions on China, and in parallel, deployed the dollar as a pressure instrument. Nations that grow too close to China risk exposure to American financial policy consequences. This is a comprehensive assault from every direction simultaneously. And in theory, this should be enough to bring down any economy in the world. But China is not just any economy. And it turns out, all of these attacks had been calculated by China long before they landed. Even more than that, the traps had already been set.
This is what I find most extraordinary, and this is almost never reported by Western media. Every American attack on China, rather than weakening it, has indirectly strengthened China's position. Not because China got lucky, but because they had set the traps long in advance. Trap 1. The chip war forced China to accelerate its technological independence. This is the greatest irony of the entire conflict. When America blocked China's access to advanced chips, what happened wasn't that China stopped. China was forced to build its own chip industry at a speed that had never existed before. SMIC is now producing 7 nm chips for Huawei's Kirin and entering a 5 nm pilot run. China's chip self-sufficiency rose from 33% in 2024 to 50% in 2025. And most staggeringly, NVIDIA itself ultimately applied to sell H200 chips to China again with a 25% fee. America imposed the ban, then America came asking to re-enter. This signals that the chip war strategy has begun backfiring on America itself. NVIDIA lost market share from 95% to 0, costing shareholders billions, and ultimately financed the birth of Huawei as a direct competitor. Trap 2. SWIFT sanctions accelerated adoption of CIPS and the digital yuan. When America froze Russia's assets in 2022, the message that reached the entire world was far more dangerous than Washington anticipated. Anyone's dollar reserves can be seized at any time. The result? Developing nations that had previously been indifferent to CIPS and the digital yuan suddenly began studying them very seriously. Within 3 years, CIPS added more than 500 new participants. Central banks in 50-plus countries began actively exploring SWIFT alternatives. America created demand for the very product China wanted to sell to the world. Trap 3. American pressure consolidated the global South behind China. Every time America escalated pressure on China, the narrative that emerged in developing nations wasn't China is dangerous, but America is arrogant. China very cleverly positioned itself as a victim of Western economic imperialism. And that narrative proved extremely effective in countries with long histories of Western colonialism. BRICS, once dismissed as a weak organization, now represents 40% of global GDP and continues to grow. Trap 4. China had already drastically reduced its dependence on the American market. This is the least discussed factor. China recognized long ago that America was the most dangerous VIP customer. Too much dependence on a single market meant a single point of vulnerability. China's exports to the global South, Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America, the Middle East, surged dramatically. China's trade surplus surpassed $1 trillion in 2025, a historic record, not from America, but from the rest of the world. Trap 5. every American attack accelerates the multipolarization of the world. This is the most strategic and longest-term trap. Every Trump tariff, every sanction, every technology blockade, all of it sends a signal to the entire world that depending on America carries risk, and China is the most prepared to fill that vacuum.
Now the question most relevant to us in Southeast Asia, caught between two giants, who should we choose? I'll be honest, this is an extremely uncomfortable position, and almost every Southeast Asian nation is in it right now. On one side, America arrives with diplomatic and military pressure. They want loyalty. They want Southeast Asian nations to join technology restrictions on China, join sanctions, and not grow too close to Beijing. The reward offered: security protection and access to the American market. On the other side, China arrives with investment, Belt and Road, infrastructure, loans, technology, and access to a market of 1.4 billion consumers, without many political conditions attached. And what's actually happening on the ground is fascinating. Most Southeast Asian nations have chosen a third path: not choosing. They are playing both sides simultaneously, maintaining security relationships with America while deepening economic ties with China. Thailand and Malaysia have already explored trade settlement in local currencies with China, reducing dollar dependency without officially announcing which side they're on. ASEAN has the Local Currency Transaction Initiative, enabling direct transactions between ASEAN currencies without dollar conversion. And intra-Asian trade continues to grow. The larger its share, the smaller this region's dependence on the America-China dynamic. A rarely discussed fact, the value of intra-Asian trade is now larger than total ASEAN trade with America, and that figure keeps rising every year. This is no accident. It's the result of years of regional economic integration policies that have slowly shifted Asia's trade center of gravity from the West to Asia itself. But there is one unavoidable impact felt directly by ordinary people: imported goods prices rising as a result of these giants' tariff war. When America raises tariffs on China, China retaliates with tariffs on America. Global supply chains are disrupted, production costs rise, and ultimately, consumers worldwide, including across Southeast Asia, pay the difference through higher prices. So after everything we've covered, who is actually winning the greatest economic war in modern history? The answer is surprising: perhaps nobody. Let me share one fact I believe is the most important in this entire video. In a large-scale economic war between two superpowers, the ones who suffer most are almost never the two giants fighting, but the smaller nations caught in the crossfire. America is losing billions from export control policies that are backfiring against its own technology companies. China has had to deploy hundreds of billions in subsidies for its domestic chip and technology industries. But who feels the impact most acutely? Developing nations whose supply chains are disrupted, whose currencies are under pressure, and who must choose between two strategic partners, both demanding full loyalty. From all the data available right now, the most likely scenario is a world permanently split into two economic blocks: a dollar bloc with America's technology ecosystem at its center, and a yuan BRICS bloc with China's technology ecosystem. Two parallel systems that cannot fully interoperate with each other. And this is what fascinates me most. Was all of this planned by China from the beginning? Was every American move predicted with a countermove already prepared? Or is this a combination of brilliant strategy and extraordinary timing? I have my own view, but I'm far more interested in yours. Do you think China had all of this planned from the start, or was it partly fortunate timing? And if you want to understand more deeply how China built its economic weapons, watch the previous video on China's 5 steps to dismantle the dollar. Link in the description. What is clear and certain beyond any doubt, the world will never return to what it was before this conflict began. The era in which America could unilaterally set the rules of the global economy, that era is over. And the new era being born right now, whatever form it ultimately takes, will determine the fate of our generation and the generations that follow. Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this video with people who need to know, and don't forget to subscribe because there are still many big stories yet to be told. See you in the next one.